From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
An historic night at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. And we start with history for the Beatrice Orangemen, or in this case, the Lady O. It's Autumn Bartlett getting the first ever win for the program. And what a great moment there on the mats in Omaha. We move to Aurora's Tia Tigre. She pins her opponent and she is fired up. Absolutely. She is a foreign exchange student from Norway. She will compete in the championships tomorrow. Congrats to all the ladies, not only that won, but everybody who made it to the state wrestling tournament on the girls' side.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to the 25th season and this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, high school wrestling. We have three guests joining us today to talk about it. Ron Higdon, Assistant Director for the Nebraska School Activities Association. He's here in the studio. And on Zoom, we have Jimmy Foster, Head Wrestling Coach for Omaha Central, and Angeline Rose, a wrestler for Omaha Central. She helped make history earlier this month. Thank you all and welcome. Ron, we're going to start with you. What happened on February 17th?
Well, we started the 2022 State Wrestling Championships, and for the first year ever in Nebraska, we had girls integrated into the championship, which was history in the making.
Yeah, you say it like it was so easy, Ron, but surely there was a process like there is with everything else. Talk about the process that led us there and your role in that.
Sure. I'm the wrestling director at the NSA and not necessarily the leader of this particular movement, but I helped facilitate it. And it's a 5-year journey that started 5 years ago, and as you go through it, our membership schools got to vote on whether to sanction girls wrestling. The process was long and arduous, and in the end, we finally got the memberships to vote in the right, what we feel is the right way, and give the girls opportunity to wrestle with girls against only girls. Before, guys wrestling or boys wrestling, if a girl wanted to wrestle, she had to be on the boys team, which means she had to wrestle against boys. So when we sanctioned it for girls, it gave them the opportunity to compete against girls only, gender specific, and it opened a whole lot of doors for girls and gave more opportunities for girls that didn't really want to compete in wrestling if they had to wrestle boys, but wanted to compete in wrestling when we changed it.
Wow, to understand the significance of all of this, give us a little history lesson here. Take us back to the beginning of high school wrestling. What did that look like, and a bit of the journey up to where we are now?
Well, I've been a director at the NSA for the last 11 years, and it was very well established before I even got there. So back in the 60s, it started before that even. I mean, there was probably, and Jimmy Foster, the head coach at Omaha Central, might even be able to give better because he's a history buff. But it started with just a few schools, and it has blossomed to now we have over 230 boys schools. And the girls' schools, through that process of sanctioning it, we had to kind of guess to see where we were at. And when we made the schedule, came up with the format, we were hoping to get 40 or 50 schools to register for girls wrestling. That would have been a huge success. At the end of the registration, we had 125 schools registered. And then when schools co-op to combine to make one team instead of two schools go together to make a team, we ended up with 98 teams for girls this year, so which means we had to really reconfigure our format and what we were originally thinking because it exploded, and we knew it would be good, but we didn't know how good it would be.
Yeah, I have to ask you then, as part of that team that put all this together, I can't even imagine looking at those numbers and how you must have felt. Talk about that a little bit.
You know what? It's excitement. At every turn this year, after it got sanctioned, everything that we've done with girls wrestling has exceeded expectations. The competitions have exceeded the number of girls, the large number of tournaments, the officials that we needed. Like we were concerned that they didn't really want to officiate girls wrestling, and quite the opposite. Even when we got to our district qualifying tournaments for girls, and I've never had this before, I had officials call me and said, I did a girls tournament, and if you ever need somebody to go back and do a girls tournament, pick me, because I want to do it.
Okay, that begs the question, why, in your opinion, Ron? I mean, why did this explode the way it exploded?
The excitement that they bring, they're so excited to be able to have this opportunity to compete against other girls and not have to go out there. When it was before, when they were on the boys' team, it wasn't a benefit. It was a no-win for anybody. If the boys wrestled the girls, they should beat them, and if they didn't, it was bad for them. The girls really didn't want to wrestle the boys because a lot of times just physical, strength and stuff comes into play, and they're at a disadvantage. Parents didn't really like it, administrators didn't like it, coaches didn't like it. So all of it pointed to going this direction. And once we did, they came out of the woodwork, and more girls wanted to do it, and it was the excitement that they bring, and just being able to compete. They're so happy to compete, and the cheering at the competition is unbelievable. And the other thing about girls, they can fight and wrestle and get after it in a match, and then at the end, they hug each other. It's unbelievable. The guys could learn something from the girls, to be honest with you.
Well, this would be a good segue into Jimmy Foster. You mentioned him. He is the head wrestling coach at Omaha Central. So, Jimmy Foster, I want to officially welcome you. You are part of the history that Ron has been talking about. You've been at Omaha Central as the head coach since 1997. Before I talk to you specifically about wrestling, tell us a little bit about Omaha Central and the other pieces of involvement that you have there.
Well, Omaha Central, of course, started out as Omaha High. We've had the school here since 1859, located on 20th and Dodge here. And I'm the social studies department head, so I take pride in that. I've been the social studies department head for the last couple of years and the head wrestling coach for the last 25 years. And so a school like Central, we're the most diverse high school in Omaha. I would guess that would make us the most diverse high school in all of Nebraska. So for a place like us, we're really excited for girls wrestling, and it probably wasn't hard to win us over like you might expect at some of the other places.
Okay, Jimmy, why wrestling for you? I'm sure there's a bit of a story there.
Oh, wrestling for me, I mean, just all the things that it teaches you, but I was able to have a mentor for me, Mike Jones, when I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and high school wrestling coach was Mike Jones. He actually was a social studies teacher, which encouraged me to get into social studies as well. But somebody like that to kind of step in and be a mentor, be someone to kind of show you the way and help you make good decisions. And, I still talk to him often. In fact, I spoke to him probably 4 times during the state tournament this year. So you establish those lifelong relationships with wrestling, So wrestling's been always positive for me.
Okay, give us a sense of wrestling pre the girls. So when you were coaching and it was just boys, just kind of give us an idea of what that's all about.
Well, for the most part, at Central, we've, at all the schools, actually, you could have had girls come out. And we've had some girls throughout the years come out for wrestling. And we actually wrestled girls from other teams every now and then. But, it wasn't the norm. It was kind of the exception. And so in your room, it's kind of, 25 years later, we'd probably call it toxic masculinity in the room, where you're not really thinking about anything. All you know is this. You kind of, just kill and get after it and fight, and you don't really step back and think about those things. Luckily, we've kind of improved that throughout the years. And with the addition of girls, what that did is it started to make us take a look back not only at who we want to help, but how we affect young people. So it was wrestling for the girls is really improved for us for how we approach children, how we approach our students and our athletes, and how we are trying to affect them. And it wasn't always the best practices what we were doing before. So the girls make you kind of step back and think about some of the things you're doing and reassess. Are we doing this just because we've always done it, or are we doing this because it's good for kids? So that was a great benefit to me and to my staff.
Jimmy, I have to ask, understanding, how much of a contact sport wrestling is, right? And Ron was talking about how the girls would wrestle the boys. How did you find, after having coached just boys and then the girls being introduced into that had to be a bit of a challenge for you in terms of, coaching, especially, like I said, in a sport that is like this one is. Talk about how you successfully made that happen.
Well, it's going to be not as bad as you think, because the way it's set up now, the girls practice with girls. The girls only work out with girls. They don't work out with other boys. And so for me, we have a woman coach on staff that, I'm constantly asking her, does this, did I say this to make somebody feel uncomfortable? Because you don't really think about it, because you just say, put your hand here, lift here, touch here. Those things that you don't think about when you're dealing with just guys, but you want to make sure you're cognizant of that when you're dealing with the girls. And we didn't have any problems. I think the hardest was probably for me. I had a couple of the girls earlier in the season, just like, Coach, just show the move. Coach, show us how to do it. I'm like, well, I don't want to do this. And just show us the move. We're trying to get better. So that was actually good. I was lucky. I don't know what everyone else's experience is like, but I was lucky. I had 7 girls that just wanted to get better. They weren't really, like, we're not here for what, we're here to get better. And so that was a great benefit, not only to the team, but to me personally.
Jimmy, I think we probably have viewers, and I'm included in all of that, who are wondering what girls are becoming involved with wrestling. Who are these kids, right? Why
Right.
this, right?
Well, I mean, wrestling has tremendous benefits. I don't think you have to be if you ask that question and you replace the word girls with boys, would you ask it? Would that even be a question? Because all types of boys are wrestling. So on the same hand, you have all types of girls that are wrestling. We have girls that, have 4.0s, and we have girls that are struggling in school. We have girls that really love the contact and being aggressive, and we have girls that we have to coax a little bit. The same way we would have boys. I think sometimes we make a great divide between the boys and girls. Now, there are some differences, but I think sometimes we make a divide that's not necessarily there. Wrestling is going to help you be a better person. So if you're a boy or girl, whatever your preferences are, wrestling will help you. And that's what we've seen this year.
Okay, thank you. This would be a good time to introduce Angie Rose, or reintroduce her, I guess. Hi, Angie. Hey, so talk to us, Angie, why did you get involved in wrestling?
I grew up with boy cousins on my dad's side. I was really the only girl, so I grew up with them playing football and doing wrestling and baseball and all that stuff. So I've always been interested in it, but I came out my freshman year, and I was the only girl that came out that year. And I had come out because I didn't make the basketball team, but I'm glad that I came out for the wrestling team.
Okay, I have to say that when you say you were the only girl your freshman year in high school, right? We've got people wondering, what was that like? Here you are, a freshman in high school, right? You're just getting used to a whole bunch of things, and then you join the wrestling team and you're the only girl. What was that like?
I'd say that it was different. It was really different. I felt like outside of the box or outside of the crew, and that I felt that they judged me, or like, she's not going to be able to be like us, or like, why is she here? But I just had to prove myself to them. I was scared to prove myself.
Okay, tell us about the training involved. So when you go out for wrestling, what does that entail in terms of the practices and the training and so forth?
There's a lot of conditioning, but that's just to make sure that your cardio is together and to make sure that you're able to work through each match and that you'll last through the matches. With learning the moves, the coaches will take you individually until you get the move down. And if you still can't get it, they'll still teach you until you get it down. I like that the coaches take us individually and help us with moves that we don't quite understand. I love the conditioning and our training and how we do our training.
You know, with every sport, there's usually something that is more challenging than another. In the training that's involved in this and some of the exercise, the things that you go through, are you finding that there's something that you're just really having trouble grasping?
I'd say that I'm having trouble grasping maybe lasting through practice, because I do have asthma. And my freshman year, I wasn't able to finish any practices because my asthma was really bad. And then coming out this year, being more in shape and more together, I'm able to finish the practices. And I'd say that I've really gotten better with my asthma.
Okay, that determination paid off. You were one of just 144 girls who went to the NSAA state wrestling competition, right, earlier this month. I have to ask you, first of all, how did you find out that you were going? And how did you feel? It might seem like a silly question, but all of that training pays off. So talk to us about that.
So our girls team went undefeated in the duels. And so that put us in districts. And they told us that the top 3 girls in our weight class to win qualified for state. And after the first day of districts, I had gotten into the finals, which means I had made it to state. So that's how I found out.
And what did you turn a cartwheel, or what did you do, Angie? I can't imagine that kind of feeling. You're making history, right?
I was really excited. I was out of words to say at the time, and I was hugging everybody, and I was thanking my coaches, and I was very glad that I made it this far.
Yeah, we are right now looking at the video of you competing. Talk to us about what you're thinking and feeling as you watch this.
I'm thinking that she can't get out of that move, or I'm thinking I really did win, or I made it to the finals. Now I'm fighting for first.
Wow. Okay, so Angie, I don't know how you typically are in front of crowds, but you're at the CHI Health Center. I mean, sold out crowd. Did that, or how did that play into probably an already nervous Angie Rose, right?
Yeah. I didn't really pay attention to the crowd while I was wrestling. When we would have our parade to show all the champions that were wrestling, I would look at the crowd and I was intimidated by, that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And when I'm wrestling, I just tune it out because I know there's going to be a lot of noises, a lot of lights and all that stuff. So I was nervous, but I ignored it.
Yeah, and that worked. I mean, you earned a runner-up finish, right? How did that make you feel knowing all of that hard work and blocking out the crowd, right, paid off for you?
I was happy and kind of a little upset. I was happy because I got second place. I'm second in the state. I'm the first girl in girls wrestling to make it in second at the weight 145. And I was kind of upset only because I've gone against her before and I had won a match. So me and her are now 1-1. So I feel happy and upset.
Well, as with anything in life, you know, Angie, lessons learned. What lesson did you learn in all of that then?
I learned that you have to go into a match ready and to expect everything, and just know that if you've gone against somebody, they've been working to beat you.
Okay. We have probably a lot of girls watching this program, or people who are going to be talking to girls about wrestling, specifically your interview. What would you tell girls who are thinking about this now, especially after watching you and being inspired by you? What would you tell them?
I think that if you're thinking about coming out for wrestling, you definitely should. If you're scared that you're not strong enough or you feel like you're going to hurt yourself, just come out and find out. I was scared to be in contact with the guys last year. I was scared that they were going to slam me and throw me across the room and all that stuff. But I had found out that you're wrestling the people that are the same weight as you, so they're struggling as much as you are. And just come out and see how it is.
Angie, final question. I want to ask you, with everything that you have learned from wrestling, how do you think that that's going to impact your life moving forward? Not just next week or next month, but years from now. What kind of an impact will the involvement in this and the experience of it all, what will that do for your life moving forward?
I think that it'll help me to know that some battles that you'll win and some battles you'll lose, and you're capable of doing anything you set your mind to. and it's helped me with self-defense too.
Okay. Oh, I do have one more question. When you're not wrestling, Angie, what are you doing? What are your interests outside of this sport?
I like throwing the ball around with the kids. I like riding my bike. I listen to music a lot. I listen to a lot of music. Music is my motivation. It helps me get things done. I do like to read. I sit down and read some comic books sometimes. Yeah, I like to stay active.
Well, Angie, on behalf of all of our viewers, everybody across the state, I just want to congratulate you for making it this far. Again, you are a true inspiration to anyone watching or anyone who's heard about you. So keep up the great work, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Jimmy, I want to ask you, this is a big deal. This is a step in a direction, you know, that people like you have been waiting for, and you see the value in it. How is incorporating girls in this way into a sport like wrestling going to impact high schools like Omaha Central moving forward?
Well, hopefully it's all positive. The things that you can learn from wrestling, like we were discussing earlier, everyone can benefit from. You know, even Angie just speaking about how she'll win some battles in life and lose some battles in life, and she's prepared for that. I would like to think that wrestling had a big part in that. And so sometimes you go for a job interview, you might bomb it. Sometimes you go and you knock it out of the park. It's time to move on. How are you going to respond to adversity? All these things that wrestling is teaching you. And then hopefully, you know, we get more boys and girls out for wrestling. I think this is all a positive. You know, one thing we have to remember, in 1929, when we had the first state tournament for wrestling, there was only 7 schools. So the first time we have a tournament for girls wrestling, we have over 700 girls. That's incredible. That is incredible. And you know, I would like to think that if we could have done this years before, but we have it now, we're going to be excited and keep moving forwards. But what a great opportunity for girls. What a great opportunity for all children, and what a great opportunity for wrestling.
Jimmy, I have to ask you, you know, when you were at CHI that weekend, and you're just kind of soaking in the environment, I can't even imagine how you must have been feeling, knowing that a change like this drew that kind of a crowd, that kind of interest, that kind of support. And again, you are part of that history in the making, right? So as a coach and a long-time coach, how were you feeling, especially as you were walking away from all of that?
You know, it's interesting that you would ask that, because as coaches, me and my assistant coaches, we kind of sat around in the arena after it was over and just kind of thought to ourselves, how awesome is this? You know, so you go back almost 100 years ago when Nebraska starts wrestling. I don't know if they would think that it would end up like this. You go from 7 schools, and now we have 14,000 in the arena watching wrestling, and then to say that we are part of the girls wrestling. You know, so it's exciting. Some coach 100 years from now is going to look back as he's going through the records. He'll be all excited about coaching at Central and coaching wrestling, and he'll go back and say, wow, in 2022, you know, they had a state finalist. The first year that Central wrestling, girls wrestling was offered, Central High School put a state finalist in. That's pretty cool, you know. So the same way that I do for having the first state champion at Central in 1930. We had two state champions during that time. We've had 123 since then. So it's really exciting. It's to be a part of that, and to feel like this is something that's so positive for society, because we're going to put out community leaders. And for wrestling to be a big part of that, and for all of the community to come in and support. And, you know, you're always going to hear some negatives, but overwhelmingly, it's not even close. Everyone was excited about watching the girls wrestling. I was very excited when they said 144 guys and 24 girls. Like, holy cow, that's pretty cool. And then for Central to have one, I couldn't stop smiling.
Well, Jimmy Foster, you keep smiling, keep doing what you're doing. Congratulations to you too, Coach. That's quite an accomplishment. I'll get back to you in just a minute. I want to ask Ron a final question here. We just have a few minutes remaining, right? So Jimmy talked to us about how this might impact high schools moving forward. What about activities in sports in general?
You know, with girls wrestling, in the NSA, we have a limited number of winter activities that girls have an opportunity. It's either basketball and really swimming are the only 2 that we sponsor as far as sports. And swimming, there's only a select number of schools, and I think that number is probably 60 around there. And we have 300 member schools. So all of those schools that don't have a swimming pool in their school and don't offer swimming, their only option is basketball. So being able to offer wrestling, and wrestling is kind of like cross country. You could have two people on your team, and it still makes a team. So your school can get involved in it, can support those athletes that are involved in it. So it's a great opportunity for girls during the winter season. So I think it really is hitting some demographics of girls that weren't necessarily doing anything, because if they didn't like basketball or they didn't want to go out for basketball, there wasn't really another option if they didn't have swimming. So we're hitting a demographic of girls and giving opportunities to girls that weren't necessarily involved in NSA activities in the winter.
So Ron, Jimmy, and Angie talking to us today about high school wrestling. Exciting times that we are a part of right now. And for folks wanting more information, I'll put that up in a second. But I want to thank Ron and Jimmy and Angie, all of you, for joining us, and wish you the very best moving forward. How great it must feel to be a part of something so big. So thank you all very, very much. Folks wanting more information on this topic can go to this website, nsaahome.org/wrestling. As we close, a look at downtown Fremont is seen through the lens of Jackson Piercy, a junior at UNO. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at nebraskapublicmedia.org/considerthis. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.
Coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Faded grass to a full.
There's a unique educational experience right here in Omaha. With access to top-rated programs, in-demand degrees, and a worldwide community of graduates, UNO prepares students for life, wherever it may lead. From Omaha to Italy to Uganda to Japan, Mavericks are working in communities around the globe. So where will a degree from UNO take you? UNO, access to exceptional, access to the world. Learn more at unomaha.edu.
It is the longest-running Omaha-based statewide television program on the air today. Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt, producer and host of Consider This. Now in our 25th season, we wish to acknowledge those who have made this educational journey possible. Our guests, underwriters, student crews, the Knowledge Network, the University of Nebraska at Omaha, and of course, viewers just like you. Thank you for watching.